It's back. It's back, baby. Oh, it's back. Weather Modification History.com is back in the house. And for those who haven't been to it, I did combine it with ClimateViewer.com again. But the good old version is back, all in one spot. The number one troll slayer of the internet is here. Sharing a link in chat, sharing it over to Rumble too, because apparently the restream doesn't just share over there. But the big dog's back in the house. You guys can come up here. You can click view the timeline. Everything's still in there like it was before. You'll be able to go through and scroll through the history of geoengineering, weather modification, space weather modification. Click on tags like artificial clouds, lightning control, hurricane modification, all that sort of stuff. The newspaper vault is still here. It loads so fast, super fast, so much faster than it did before. All created by Dominic, my brother from another mother up in Canada. And what's new is the frequently asked question pages. The geoengineering page, which will tell you all about geoengineering, climate engineering, and climate intervention. Answer all your questions with PowerPoint presentations in a friendly, frequently asked questions style. Click the little drop downs, it'll explain all the things. And then we have weather modification, chemical and electrical weather control. These pages pretty much are identical to what's on climateviewer.com right now. Going to be, more to come, but brand new, completely redone from scratch. Space weather modification is no longer just about HARP, no longer just about that one place up in Alaska. It is now about all of it. Like the entire control of space controls means control of the world. The Masters of Infinity would control Earth's weather, all of that stuff. Why to heat the ionosphere? What is an ionospheric heater? What's geophysical warfare? And what are sounding rockets? Sounding rockets weren't even mentioned on the page before, and I spent a lot of time going through this to show you what they are. What is a trimethyl aluminum or barium chemical rocket, and why do they do it? Learn that and much more on weathermodificationhistory.com. Actually watch it happen in real time with your own eyes right here. These are the chemical releases. Barium clouds up here at the top. Strontium, trimethyl aluminum. This is part of the Azure project. So much more information on here than before. Please come over, and it's got all the links there too. Substack, Telegram, the videos, the social medias, donations, and the merch shop. New merch coming too. Got some pretty epic new merch coming. So that's going to be pretty epic. So that's where we're that's the most exciting thing. This thing right here is now back online. Weathermodificationhistory.com. I've spent the last 3 weeks working nonstop on bringing it back. But there's much more to come. Just wait till you see the entirely brand new chemtrail page. It will be a page only about chemtrails. So let's get to this story. How did we arrive here? So for those who don't know, back in March, I was on Del Bigtree's The High Wire. And in discussing all things chemtrails, a lot of people don't understand that, there's a lot there, there's a lot to unpack. And I want to give people like all of the things. So I mentioned this while I was on the air with Dell, and it went something like this.
Um,
All right. Yeah, the audio is working.
that's not to say that there aren't specifically designed aerial spraying platforms. Youngstown Air Force Base is a good example where the C-130s have oil dispersant and what's called adulticide sprayers. Everybody always cites Evergreen Aviation, Specialty
So
Corporation.
right there, I'm just like ripping through stuff off the top of my head. Wasn't scripted. I didn't take any notes. I was just giving an example, and the first one I give is Youngstown Air Force Base.
Sent a photo that I've not been able to track down. In fact, some of them even have like patent numbers right on the
And this is
bottle.
where I was talking about
And
bottles
it's
and
like,
stuff
dude,
like
you
that.
didn't even read the number and look it up. Here's the patent for flight testing. That's not to say that there aren't specifically designed aerial spraying platforms.
Yep.
Youngstown Air Force Base is a good example where the
So Youngstown Air Reserve Station is the head of the aerial spray system. Let's just put it that way. So it was much to my delight when, I signed up for, I signed up for Del Bigtree's ICANN newsletter, and you know what? I got an email and it just made my damn day. And it doesn't get much better than this. July 19th, 2024. I was on there on May 14th. ICANN obtains records showing the U.S. military sprays toxic pesticides in U.S. residential areas. Concerned parents tirelessly defend their children from toxic chemicals coming from seemingly every direction in food, cleaning products, all the things. But how many have considered whether chemicals are being sprayed from our skies while we sleep? ICANN's legal team recently obtained records through FOIA showing the U.S. military sprays dangerous chemicals from airplanes over residential areas. The spraying is usually done at night, when the insects are most active, so you likely wouldn't realize that your home had been sprayed. It's done by the U.S. Department of Defense, which has a specialized unit that is dedicated to spraying large areas of land, 5,000 acres or more. Lead counsel Aaron Siri, Esquire, lays out the details here. Take it away, Aaron. I think I'm going to have to back this up.
On behalf of ICANN, we routinely investigate, submit FOIA requests, and send out other legal demands seeking to understand what products are being developed that seek to make vaccines and other types of vaccine-like products self-spread through society. The idea behind these products is to get around informed consent. In fact, the often stated purpose is so they can vaccinate everybody without even having to ask. Well, as part of that investigation, we look at any kind of aerosolized chemicals. And we came across in that investigation, to our surprise, the fact that the United States military drops a whole host of toxic chemicals, the very type of chemicals that you would want to keep out of your children's food, that you probably work hard to make sure you don't get exposed to, sprays them on entire residential communities in various parts of the United States. Unfortunately, many of these products and compounds that are being dropped are known to be toxic and potentially cause cancer. In fact, many of them are dropped precisely because they're toxic to life. Often their aim, of course, is not to kill humans or to harm humans. It's to go after bugs, insects, and other animals or foliage. But nonetheless, it has the same effect. Even in one instance, there were mosquitoes that were inside of a box that was inside of a building. And our understanding from the documents was that dropping these repellents, mosquitoes, herbicides from the planes was able to kill those mosquitoes inside a box that was inside a building from dropping these pesticides and herbicides in the sky. The important thing is that whatever's being dropped, the American public's not aware of it. It's obviously quite troubling and disturbing, and we intend to take more action with regards to that conduct.
Just phenomenally good. Phenomenally good. Ecstatically good. So, this is not new news to me. And it's kind of sad to just put it that way. But the first time I actually covered this was, I covered it before even that. But back in 2018, during the Zika thing, how many people remember that? I thought it would be a good idea to, cue people into the idea of adulticide. So this article was from 2018. Link in the chat right now. Boom. Just so you know, we got our record straight. There you go. Back in 2018, I was covering how they were, basically it's called disease vector control. So this is a term you need to familiarize yourself with. So vector control is a whole lot of things, but in particular, they were basically bacteria infected mosquitoes released to combat disease. They were modifying mosquitoes and putting them out there. And I went on to talk about the U.S. Air Force Aerial Spray Unit from the 910th Airlift Wing at Youngstown Air Reserve Station. Now I've got other, even older versions of this on the website, but just showing you that, yeah, back in 2018, I had covered this. I'm going to show you a lot of this stuff again. And this is currently up on my Substack. That's why I was late today. Just so you guys know, I wanted to start at 6, but I was doing so much work digging through the FOIA that I wanted to make sure I was thorough. And if I had more time before, I was already late for 6 o'clock to talk about this. I didn't have time to include the material safety data sheets for all of the chemicals that were listed in the FOIA. But I did get a list together, and we're going to go through those as we work on this. So back to the article. According to this website, the military unit conducts, let me take the chat off there real quick. Let's make this full screen, give it the attention it deserves. Shout out to Del Bigtree and ICANN, the High Wire. Excellent work getting this FOIA. We'll look at the FOIA in just a moment. I actually have the whole thing up right here. And like I said, this is 2,940 freaking pages. And I went through it all today. So that being said, it's a handful. I barely skimmed the surface. I literally was hunting down, the chemicals, mainly the chemicals. I wanted chemical names. I got chemical names. So we're going to get into that. That conducts as many as 25 recurring annual missions on 12 military installations in 9 states, and in some cases over communities surrounding DoD areas. It uses airplanes specifically designed, modified with a spray arms and the modular aerial spray system, which can carry a total of 2,000 gallons of insecticide, herbicide, or dispersant. Stop right there. Stop the presses. So what they're actually saying is that these spray units aren't just spraying mosquitoes. And, a bulk of the material in here is about mosquitoes, obviously. That is adulticide. Adulticide in the chemtrail aerial spray unit world means killing adult mosquitoes, as opposed to larvicide. So adulticide is usually aerosolized and it's sprayed into the air. Adulticide can also be aerosolized, but its purpose is to infect the water that the mosquitoes grow in while they are still larvae and kill them. Adulticide versus larvicide. So keep that in mind. But then they say herbicide. Herbicide, Agent Orange. Okay, think that. Agent Orange, a defoliant, herbicides. The fact that they are even still spraying herbicides is enough to make me go okay? And I literally was going to bring this up, and I'll just briefly mention it, but grooming forests could be making fires worse, researchers warn. Glyphosate sprayed on forests kills slow-burning trees, leaving more flammable species vulnerable. The next video that I'm going to do is going to be specifically breaking down how everybody blames geoengineering for the massive forest fires, but once again, it's Roundup, it's glyphosate, it's hack and squirt. That's what's causing these forest fires to be outrageously powerful. So we'll cover that in the next video. I didn't have enough time to even get into this, and I figured, you know what? We'll save it for another video because there's so much there. But we will get into that in another video, like I said. But that's where the herbicides come in. And guess what? The military is spraying those as well. The agent is then dispersed out of spray bars under each wing, 30 micron droplets. The most important part of this is right here. The records also show that pesticides killed mosquitoes that were inside boxes, inside buildings. Okay? Incredibly, one flight path shows planes intentionally avoided spraying areas where bald eagles nests. So if the chemicals are being sprayed are too dangerous for baby eagles, how are they affecting us? In humans, symptoms of pesticide poison include headaches, muscle twitching, nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, respiratory depression, seizures, especially in children. Children are much more affected by this. And loss of consciousness. Frighteningly, even if you don't live in an area that's being sprayed, you may have been exposed to knowledge through your food, drinking water, and even clothing. So, knowledge is sprayed on crops, almonds, broccoli, grapes, strawberry, cotton, and more, used in the public pest control measures, and research reaches groundwater sources of drinking water. So this stuff is everywhere. It is everywhere. And it's, we're all being literally sprayed like bugs because they're spraying the bugs and you're getting the brunt of it. So over here on the Climate Viewer Report, it's climateviewer.substack.com. Links to the video you're watching right now. If you hate YouTube, go to Rumble. We're streaming on a bunch of platforms. But, hey, if you're on YouTube, go to Rumble and hit that subscribe button because who knows how long the overlords at YouTube are going to allow me to continue to talk like this. But when you're going through the FOIA, what you're going to see repeatedly is this thing that says doom. All right, now I'm going to do a real fast search for that doom. All right, and then you'll see this memorandum for HQ AFRC/doom. Now, I'm going to tell you what, I am an expert on searching the freaking internet, and you cannot get a search engine to tell you what the hell doom means. And I literally had to go to ChatGPT to get it to tell me what the hell does doom mean. Because you know how they love to project with their acronyms. Am I right? Are they always screwing with us with these acronyms? It's just a coincidence that this is the the doom, all right? You know what I'm saying? You will eat the bugs that we sprayed. So AFRC, Air Force Reserve Command, Deployment Operations and Operations Management, doom. So this is who's behind this, okay? And you'll see that right here. I've spelled that out right at the top so everybody knows who did it and why. The U.S. Air Force, Reserve Command, Deployment Operations and Operations Management. Weird, right? You know that the damn acronym was made up because the motherfucker, I'm trying not to curse, because they literally put operations in there twice just to make the OO work. Because otherwise it'd be Deployment Operations and Management, right? It'd be DOM. But no, it's Doom because it is Doom. Imagine that. Anyway, so then I full shout out to ICANN. I literally reposted their entire thing along with the video and a link back to the original. All the love in the world for Dell and his team for making things open source. You can literally go right there to their page, and on it says download video. I mean, nobody does that anymore, but I can. And the Highwire, Dell Big Trees team, all the praise in the world to you guys for doing this. So credits all to you. So what is the MAS, the modular aerial spray system? I got a couple photos here for you. So these are the tanks. And this is one of those things where, you know, I'm constantly riding the chemtrail community's ass because they're showing pictures of ballast tanks. That's why I brought it up in the interview with Dell, is that they're showing these ballast tanks, or they're showing what I know is Youngstown's aerial spray unit. And they're saying that these are in the back of a freaking Delta Airlines. These are in all the planes you're seeing overhead making the clouds. No, that doesn't mean that they're not dangerous. That doesn't mean that they're not chemtrails. These are chemical trails. These are intentionally sprayed chemical trails. But these bottles you're seeing on the screen have nothing to do with Delta Airlines or Southwest or United Arab Emirates. You got to do the research. And I've been doing this for 15 years, so that's why I'm bringing this up. So this is what the herbicide actually looks like coming out of the back of that C-130, out of the MAS system being sprayed. Here's another shot of it from outside. As you can see right here, this is the tube, and there are multiple different versions of this. This has actually got a single nozzle on it. These can also be used for, Youngstown, Ohio. Nothing in chat. These pipes right here coming out the side are connected to the two tubes. And this is an older shot of the MAS system where they have a single bottle, and then they have other versions where they have two different bottles, like we saw in the previous photo. There's one bottle for each pump on either side. Okay. And this is another shot from the inside of the back of the WC or the C-130. I can't show Mike's video because I'll get copyright strike for some music or something. I mean, this one's way too important for me to go playing somebody else's stuff. Shout out to Mike Morales. Rest in peace, brother, man. Armor on and hold on to your britches, because I poured through the FOIA document and pulled out every pesticide listed. Now, dibrom, which is not NALED. I've heard this both ways, NALED and NALED. This is the most commonly used. It's not just used in the Air Force aerial spraying. It's used in your neighborhood. We're going to show you some videos in a minute. It might blow your mind. But if you're from the South, you probably already have seen these chemtrail trucks. Anyway, you can't make this stuff up. Tordine 22K EPA registration numbers. I went and literally pulled all of these out. And that's why I was late today, because I was going to get where each of these is highlighted. Go ahead and get the material safety data sheets. If you guys want to do this, I put a thing in the comments for you to jump on board and get in on this. So if you just literally do a quick search and then throw behind that MSDS, okay, you'll probably be able to find a PDF just like that. But I didn't have time to go through this. And when you go to that PDF, you're going to see Tordine 22K. See, that's a herbicide. If I had done that, I would have moved this out of the top category where adulticide, and I would have moved it all the way down here to herbicide. So clearly, I'm going to have to edit the article. Things happen, right? But I always go back and I check my references and then I correct it. It's okay to be wrong, but if you're not first, you're last. So I wanted to get this out today, and hey, we're first, but we're not going to be last, because I'm going to make sure that all these material safety data sheets are in there and we know what these chemicals are and what they do. And I'm going to make a bet with you guys. I have not looked at this one, but whenever we get down to the section that says environmental data, it's going to say something like no data available. Anyone want to take guesses in the chat? Because that's the way it always goes. Always goes that way. Precautionary, it'll burn. If inhaled, all right, okay. If swallowed, you're probably going to die. Call the Poison Control Center. Let's see. Herbicides, special fire. External release measures, handling and storage. Do not breathe vapors or dust. Do not smoke. Who's going to smoke this stuff? I mean, like, some of the things they put in here just cracked me up. So, all right, let's see. Colorless liquid, moving on. Sometimes all right, acute toxicity. So we get down to this. This is toxicological information. This will tell you, you know, like how much of it'll kill a rat, okay? Moving down. You know what? Let's just save ourselves some trouble. Environmentally hazardous substance, liquid, proper shipping name. Yeah, they don't even have a section on environmental effects, which is crazy because it's like required. Anyway, this is getting dragged out. Now I'm getting bored. But we'll go through, I will go through these thoroughly at a later date. This is a non-standard MSDS, because normally you would have a section that literally just shows environmental studies. Toxicity to fish. Yeah, well, I mean, this one actually does have a lot of toxicology on it, which is unusual and also good, but don't look too deep because it's probably going to make you creeped out. But anyway, so the list goes on and on. If you guys want to help out with the material safety data sheets, go ahead and jump on the Substack and leave a comment and just name the chemical, give a link. That'll help speed up the process. We're going to go through all these. Anvil, Duet, Trumpet, EC, Zenevex, and I got a video of a Zenevex spraying down below. Oust, Aqualure, and you can see some of these actually in the FOIA have their EPA registration numbers. Some of them do not. So Altocid, Vertobac, they actually have 3 versions of this: 12AS, WDG, BTI, and the BTI says EPA registration number and it's just blank. There's nothing there. Anyway, and then in the herbicide categories, you know, the Agent Orange category, the glyphosate category, Crovar, IDF. I actually saw it written 1DF. So we'll have to look into that. I actually, you know, here's an example. I didn't even link it, but regardless, you can click it, and it just shows it right there. You know, there's the chemical. Oh, is that Bayer? You mean Bayer like Monsanto? You mean like Monsanto that made Agent Orange? Oh yeah, I guess it all makes sense. You know, if you're good at killing shit, you're probably still good at killing shit. And they're apparently still good at killing shit. Bayer. Killing all the things and making a lot of money doing it. Plateau, Panoramic 2SL, Milestone. These are the chemicals when I'm ripping through this thing and I've got the thing up. What I'm doing is I'm actually looking at pesticide. All right. So when I actually click in pesticide, you see that there's 1,078 of these listed. And when I'm clicking through it, I'm going like this: pesticide, spray parameters, Paris Island, South Carolina. That's my home state. And then right here, what do I see? Anvil 10+10, a summary of that, signal word, caution, flushing agent, Marvel mystery oil. Like, oh my God, you can't make this stuff up. I'm laughing because I don't want to cry. Like I could front evil and despair with laughter, because what else am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? That's just how I roll. So don't think that I'm laughing this off, because I've read too many things. But like I said, Dibrom, which is Naled, is the #1 mentioned throughout this. So I'm just flipping through this thing as fast as I can, going, all right, Dibrom, there's Tordon, and, you know, just flipping through these until I came through all the chemicals listed in there. And there's a lot of there. Let's just put it there. that way. There's so much stuff in here that I have not been able to research. I haven't read the whole thing yet. I mean, hell, it's 2,940 pages, so there's a lot in between. I suggest everybody, if you're really interested in this, start reading, get informed, because this is a mountain of disclosure. Like, you normally don't see FOIAs this thick. So that's pretty epic. Knowledge harms humans, kills bees, birds, fish, and other wildlife. This is one of the big sticklers for me. All right, is that they know that when they're driving down the street by my house, that as they're passing by with their chemtrail truck, that knowledge, that dibrom, which is almost, I went to my local DHEC department in Sumter, South Carolina. I spoke to the individual there. I said, I want to know what's in the damn truck that's coming by my house. Is it safe? And of course they go, yeah, it's safe. And I'm like, well, why don't you guys tell us before, why don't you tell us before you come out? And they're like, well, we really don't have a good way to share this information with the public. And I'm like, but poison. And he's like, oh, well, but it's about saving lives, West Nile virus, the Zika thing. And I'm like, but poison. Like, how about but bees? Like, what if I had a bee farm in my backyard? My wife, her father, her father's wife, has a bee farm and has been killed many times by them spraying the fields out in front of it, in front of their house. So we have a massive bee decline already. And we know for a fact that spraying for disease vector control directly contributes to the death of pollinators. That's a big damn deal. And when your local municipality is not informing you ahead of time, and you can't take any precautions to avoid it, and then you got the U.S. Air Force spraying at night, just randomly spraying this crap without any warning whatsoever to the public, what are we to do? Especially now, I'm just going to read the thing. I'm going to read the thing before I start cursing, because cursing is about to happen. But there's a plethora of evidence on the harm to all life, not just mosquitoes, from the spraying of knowledge. And with more digging, we're sure to find out that the other chemicals listed above, the ones that I haven't even gotten into yet, I literally just pulled them out today. It's going to get creepier. I mean, it's going to get creepier when you start digging into all of that. But you can go to these links. There's a lot of good information on these. This one's kind of weak. Earth Justice is a fail train. But regardless, human health effects, neurodevelopmental harm, reproductive toxicity. But they're used in alfalfa, cotton, and other crops. They're not even talking about, the chemtrails overhead. They're talking about literally like farmers that are spraying this stuff on this page in particular. But over here, of course, it's going to do that. Refresh. Do this. 'Cause it worked earlier. They didn't take the damn website down between me writing an article and now. Like, oh my God. I wouldn't be surprised though, unless it just got overwhelmed. Like, we broke the site. Somebody, people are sharing it already. Yeah, it does not want to come up. How about them apples? Amazing. Abso-freaking-lutely amazing. Oh well. That's how the cookie crumbles. Check for a link later. But other links up here, so you can just check out all the information on this. Journal for pesticide reform. Shout out to Stella Q and chat, and from our Telegram chat. She's one of our admins. Follow Stella Q on YouTube for Weather or Not. great series on being a meteorologist. Teach yourself. But yeah, like there's a lot to really break down on this information. So dig as deep or as shallow as you want on it. Let's just put it that way. Are there special precautions that you should be taking during knowledge spraying, according to the US EPA website? Now, you would think that, the EPA, let's be real. We all know the US EPA is not going to tell us the truth on this crap, right? So, it's no surprise that that this is completely incorrect. I'm looking at chat. Okay. So I come down here and I see this section. What should you do? Well, contact your local health department to find out when, they're going to be spraying in your area. I did. Sumter, South Carolina, they don't tell us. So you don't know when it's coming. Stay indoors with windows closed during spraying. Do I need to go back and remind you that they clearly said that records are also, basically this is on, it says page 2029. So if I go and I bring this up, I'll show you guys exactly what they're talking about. So let me get off this real quick. We'll go to page 2029, enter, and then you'll see right here that it actually says that preliminary results are encouraging. While full analysis of the findings will be developed and eventually published, the initial results show a high rate of mosquito mortality was found outside of the buildings. This was an expected outcome, but mortality was also recorded from mosquitoes inside of the buildings, even those further placed inside boxes. This indoor mortality suggests that aerial application may potentially be effective against indoor resting mosquitoes. Bro, you're basically saying that even though the EPA right here is saying, stay indoors with windows closed, does that really matter when this U.S. Air Force FOIA is literally saying, hey, it went inside? If you don't believe me, see, it says right there, see attachment number 3. Scroll down 2 pages. This is where they sprayed. This is the Military Operations Urban Training. That's what MOUT stands for, in case anybody's wondering. This is the MOUT facility right here. These are the places they sprayed, and this is the wind direction. And what happened? This is the MOUT facility. Windows closed and everything. They can make this thing airtight, so they can do chemical training indoors and all that. That's Military Operations Urban Training. That's what it stands for. That's why they got vents up here and all this stuff. Going through the roof, pop, tear gas, clear every room, exit the door at the bottom. Well, they had mosquitoes inside this box, inside the building, with the windows closed, and inside this little taped container, and it killed them inside. So, to the US EPA, staying indoors isn't going to help anybody, because it can come right on inside. I always used to say to my children, basically run for the hills, like very quickly get inside. And that, because we would talk about the chemtrail truck. So I would say this, living in Sumter, South Carolina as a young child, we have always been accustomed to hearing mosquito trucks coming and generally running for cover. That was 37 years ago when I was 10 years old. And today I have a 14-year-old and an 8-year-old daughter. We hear the trucks coming without any public notice or warning. And I tell Ann that's the kind of crap that drives me crazy. My D button on my keyboard is broken. I have wore out my D button. Yeah. And I tell them to run inside and make sure all the windows are shut. I would even cut off the air conditioner for a short while just to be safe. Now I know, after reading this FOIA, there is no safety. And that really makes me sick. So what is a chemtrail truck? It looks like this. If you guys haven't ever seen one, this is what we're dealing with down here in Sumter, Sac. And they look like this. Let me kill the audio in case a commercial pops up or anything. You know, let me make sure play. All right. Seems safe. Yeah, it's that loud. It's that damn loud. And since I've been a child, we've had these trucks. Since I've been a child. Chemtrail trucks, mosquito spraying trucks, disease vector control. When I use the word chemtrails, I'm talking about all the things. But for a lot of people to be misusing images of Youngstown Air Reserve, their modular aerial spray system, and then saying that that's in Delta Airlines or all that, there's a lot of hucksters out there and just ambulance chasing, fear porn pushing, not gonna curse. But these people are misleading everybody, and it keeps us all divided and not able to get to the truth. This disease vector control, this aerial spraying of chemicals in your neighborhood and by the military, both really piss me off. And I mean, I'm going to do what I can to stop this practice in my hometown. I suggest that if you have not noticed it, ask your neighbors and go to your local health department and ask about mosquito spraying and disease vector control. Does it happen in your hometown? Is it with what chemicals? And have the information to stop it there. And we're going to do everything we can. I'm going to reach out to Chris, one of the producers for my Highwire ICANN, that got me on the show, and be like, what can I do to help? Because we need to put a stop to this practice. The idea that we should be more scared of West Nile virus and mosquitoes than the fact that they're spraying chemicals that are harming, definitely killing all our bees. Definitely killing all our bees. Without our bees, we're all screwed. Period. It's harming people. That's a big damn deal. But having these freaking chemtrail trucks, just buzz by your house all the time, that's enough to make me just go ree. You thought that was crazy? Just imagine what they're doing overseas. Okay? You have no idea. This video is old. Look at this crap here. Look at these poor kids.
Or maybe when they reach mid-age, they are on $4,000 a month worth of prescription pills due to ailments they don't know how they got. Well, I think I know how they got them. By living in the most controlled experimental society in human history, we get subjected to many forms of attack, be it chemical, biological, pharmaceutical, or through electromagnetic frequencies. You name it, they got it.
I mean,
If
look
you've
at
seen
that. These are from
type
all
of
over the
vehicles
world.
cruising around your neighborhood,
This is not just an
would you
American
like to know
thing.
whereabouts
These are all
you live?
over the world.
Not anything specific, just the state or the country would be great. Now, you can see these kids playing
They think it's a
in the
smoke bomb.
mist.
They're like, oh,
Reminds me of the
fireworks.
DDT sprayings in the 60s. Let's hear the news tell you how often this goes on.
Houstonville, then to the town of Amelia. With an increase in population comes an increase in spraying. Stokes says his team sprays as often as necessary. The effective swath is 300 feet with a 95 to 100% degree of controlled effect on mosquitoes. In areas with a positive West Nile indication, trucks are noticeable 7 days a week. And
7
in
days a
areas
week.
without any detection of West Nile,
That's what they look like
5
in my
days a week,
hometown right there.
Monday through Friday.
That's right, 24/7. They're spraying you all the time. If you thought that was crazy, check this out. Boom. We're looking at the chemtrail motorcycle.
Bro.
I mean, look at this guy. He is straight out of the X1138.
I mean, it's a chemtrail freaking motorcycle. Like, literally, you can't make this stuff up. The truth is scarier than fiction, guys. I swear to you, every single time, the truth is scarier than fiction.
Maybe equilibrium. You know, I'd love to have a gas mask like that. Look at the amount of chemicals that's coming out of that motorcycle. Anyway, I think this is pretty shocking, if anything. I'm sure all this is under the guise of health and safety, promoting that we need to eradicate or get rid of mosquitoes. But it seems to me as they are spraying, is that some type of urban encampment? Anyway,
Good
this guy
Lord,
doesn't seem
look
to
at
care
this.
about the mask. He's got the dual barrel. Look at him go. They are definitely laying down the law here, huh? Well, I wanted to thank everybody for letting me know about this going on in their area. I didn't get any specifics. Now I'm hoping for some specifics. If you could just leave me a comment, let me know where you've seen this going on at. That
Get
would
the
be
usual
great, 'cause
contrail
as
warning
far
at the
as,
top.
my community goes here in California, I haven't seen anything like this, and I carry my camera with me all the time.
Shout out to this guy here. 122 subscribers. This literally has 126 views 8 years ago. But I keep these things around. You know what I mean? Like I save these videos for a reason. 126 views. 122 subscribers. Go show them some love, guys. Matter of fact, link in the chat. Well, I mean, it's in the article already. The article's, you know, you guys got it. But go show these people some love, man. I mean, maybe it'll kick them back into high gear and get them, you know, doing their thing again. That'd be awesome. So the chemtrail trucks, that's the thing. And, you know, nobody's really talking about it. Here's some, you know, video footage of the actual Youngstown boys doing their thing. Right over, and I mean, you can see this is nothing but neighborhoods, guys. You can see the trails coming out behind it. This right here, this video.
Watch live and local news.
Damn advertisements. This is from Williston Vector Control. And video is from 2011. It literally has 274 views on it. They have 12 freaking subscribers. So to say that people really don't know anything about this topic and are completely uninformed, when I mentioned this on Dell's show, I mentioned it for a reason, because people really don't know about this. And it's being kept secret. And that is shocking to me. You know, when this stuff is literally right in your face, you know, the videos are there. You can, these are all from the same channel. I definitely can't play this one because they got The Boys Are Back in Town playing over this audio, you know, this video. But you can see it right here. Here comes the C-130. Look how low it's flying too. And there's them chemtrails. That's absolutely insane. Here's a lower shot of the same thing. And this one's got like heavy metal playing over it. So I can't play the audio on these. But you can watch them in the article and you can hear it with the music. This dude's like, I want to get down here and see it like right up close. Taste the rainbow. That shot is so clear that you can actually see the pipes sticking out the side that are doing the spraying. Grave, why are you gonna do me like that, Grave? Yeah, it was Thin Lizzy. Oh, but no, this one's got some pretty epic metal on it. But again, I mean, when you're talking about this video right here, this one's got 1.9K views, so it actually got more views than anything else. But this is from 2009 on a channel with 16 subscribers. So apparently this one actually got shared by somebody. And the only comment is, music great. Like, really? That's it? Just music great? Got it. All right. Oh my God. It's just so bad. It's just so bad. But yeah, they Rising River by Wofat, the Gathering Dark. Yeah, I'm not gonna get a copyright claim for playing that, so not happening. But yeah, this is the real deal. This is happening. You know, all the details on it are on my Substack right now. I put some other stuff down here at the bottom. There's actually a FOIA page just for NOLED. There's a whole bunch of other stuff on that. And, you know, like I said, I will be updating this article later with material safety data sheets. So I may, you know, move some of these chemicals around and put them in their proper category. But we have the main three categories and we got the big picture. The big picture is adulticide, larvicide, herbicide. And they're all in, yeah, that's right. The Jim Lee will not be stopped. And yeah, Bro, I got a sick sense of humor too. I like dark humor. You know, you cannot read this kind of stuff on a daily basis and deal with the the level of depravity that I've had to deal with without having some kind of sick sense of humor at some point, because otherwise you just either quit or you go crazy or you'd go postal, and none of those are an option. So I'm gonna have to laugh, you know, and keep that up. All right, I did hear Dirk earlier. I did mention, you know, Dirk in the chat earlier mentioned the C-130 Super Hercules, and that's one of the last links I have up here. This is one of the latest updates, is that the Air Force Reserve Super Hercules to prepare to take over aerial spray ops for the older style. This is from April 2nd, 2024. And this is the new planes. And as you can see, like I said about the, you know, the actual spray pipes, they've now extended it out, and there's 8 pipes coming off the main pipe plus one on the end. So there's 9 sprayers per side connected to those tubes, those bottles inside. So if you see a C-130, which is a propeller driven plane, it's turboprop, if you see a C-130 flying low with a big trail coming out of the back of it, know that you're getting chemtrailed. And 910th Air Lift Wing, that is at Youngstown. Oh, it says it right there. But based at Youngstown Air Reserve Station, Ohio. Shout out to Ohio, center of the world when it comes to U.S. Air Force chemtrails. They don't they they don't just spray them; they bury them with their modular aerial spray system. Kind of a depressing topic. So let's kind of leave on a high note. Let's enjoy something different. So Dominic, you know, my boy, my broham, broski. By the way, for those who don't know about Dominic, you know, Dominic, my guy who made all, you know, put together all these newspapers by recreating them from Google News and all kinds of different sources. Dominic's a hell of a graphics artist too. Check him out over at dominicmarama.com. Dominic, he designed my logos. I mean, like, Dominic is one of the most talented graphics artists I know, and 3D Blender design and all that stuff. So me and Dominic are on WhatsApp, and we're chatting because he's in, you know, he's up in Canada. I almost said China. He's up in Canada, and these are all his designs. Like, all these signs, all these logos, he designed these. Extremely talented. These vehicle wraps. Damn, Dominic's good. Damn, he's good. Hire this man if you need a good logo. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So Dominic and I, we're having a conversation, and he's like, "You're never going to believe what I just found." And for those who don't understand, you know, about weather modification history and what it actually does, you can come over here and you can look. If I'm on one of the entries for weather modification history, and I just scroll down to here, we'll go to, say, Operation Popeye. If I go to Operation Popeye, we'll see that this is about the weather warfare that occurred. And I said in here, sponsored by Secretary of State Henry Kissinger and the CIA without authorization of the Secretary of Defense Melvin Laird. Now, you guys know what a stickler I am for the details. So this is absolute, what I'm about to show you is absolutely freaking amazing. Dominic sends me this link, and I'm like, okay, what do we have here? Let's go view full screen mode. So this is the Journal of the Air Force Historical Foundation. This is the summer issue, volume 71, number 2. This just came out. And what do I see right here? Perception versus reality, the true history of Weaponized Weather and Operation Popeye in Southeast Asia on page 65. And I'm like, and the next article is page 101. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. In fact, they said, our fifth article by David Reed is by far the longest ever published by us, and it tells the story of how the Department of Defense tried to use technology to make the weather in Vietnam work in favor of the U.S. and South Vietnam. So I've long maintained that, we've already changed the world. Like, me and my wife, we have this discussion. She's like, what are your goals? And I'm like, I wanted to bring the truth to the world about weather modification, geoengineering, these topics. I wanted it to be front page news. That has happened. That's happened in the mainstream media. It's happened everywhere. I mean, it's happened on literally like TV, on, MSM, legacy media, everywhere. And I know that it is a direct result of the work that I've done, that Dominic's done, that a lot of us have done. But, I'm going to take a lot of the credit because I put it all in one place. And Dominic put all the newspapers together. And we came together, like formed Voltron, and took on the entire internet in the world. And we changed that world. And it's amazing to see that the Air Force historians themselves want to correct the record. They want to make sure that, all the truth is out there. When I read this, I sat there with my mouth wide open. And I want to just, focus on the very last page real quick, because I think that you guys might find this kind of neat. So what do we have down here? All the way at the very bottom. The perception versus reality. Well, let's pick it right. The perception versus reality of history of the Popeye story is important towards setting the record straight in the public domain with regards to the actual history of weather modification and the development of weather as a weapon during this period in the Cold War. In that, this comprehensive history serves as a guide pointing out the flaws, inaccuracies, superficialness, and bias, conspiracy-laden weather modification history information currently prevailed with the public domain and perceived instances of weaponized weather modification. In this age of fake news and historical fiction being accepted as historical fact, those times when truth is actually known, it's important to point out these facts and correct the public's perception on the present and true history. Bro, it literally says weather modification history right there. Right there. In the longest article ever published by the Journal of the Air Force Historical Foundation. I put a link to the original right here. This is actually my chopped up version of it, so I could just go straight through and go, all right, page down, and there's the article. And I've read through this entire thing. And I got to tell you, I was right about everything except for the Kissinger part. And he mentions it here. So, hey, I've told you guys before, I will admit when I was wrong. But right here, some public domain references suggest that Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, along with the CIA, authorized or ran the rainmaking in Southeast Asia. However, this is not specifically correct. Both Project Popeye, which was before Operation Popeye, was the test, and Operation Popeye were initiated long before Kissinger was ever appointed a presidential national security advisor to Nixon. when he became president in January 1969. Again, SACSA, and I'll tell you what SACSA is in just a moment, with its unique position within the Pentagon, authorized and controlled the weaponized weather modification programs with the Navy at China Lake, California, the Naval Weapons Center in China Lake. So, however, it can be said that Kissinger might have had knowledge of U.S. weaponized weather modification programs in 1969 in his position as NSA advisor, and then more specifically with regards to those at China Lake weaponized weather applications being conducted against Cuba. According to the recently declassified CIA archival Crest documents, Kissinger, with Nixon's approval, was asked to be read into all CIA covert operations, particularly those against Cuba. Kissinger subsequently ordered another round of escalations in covert operations against Cuba in 1969 that saw additional geophysical warfare applications levied against Cuba by China Lake. So basically, like, you're really splitting hairs here. I get what you're saying, but, so it wasn't authorized. I will change that. I'm going to update the entire article on weather modification history based on the information in this document, because I find it to be true. I did email it directly to Dr. Jim Fleming. For those who aren't familiar with his work, Fixing the Sky, the checkered history of weather and climate control. I emailed Dr. James Roger Fleming this article, and I'm waiting for his response, because it's pretty insane that we're talking like 60 freaking pages, almost over 60 pages just on Popeye, and it is chock full. I mean, it is freaking chock full of good information like you would not freaking believe. And they go on to admit that basically on the timeline, I only covered the rain embargo, the droughts that they were creating to kill Castro's sugar crops. And I called it Project Nile Blue, but actually Project Nile Blue is, an atmospheric computing model. So it was like an early computer to model the atmosphere. So we really don't know what the name of the program or project that they were doing. But under Project Storm Fury, it says, under the secret effort of Project Storm Fury, hurricanes were intensified and steered towards Cuba to be wrought destruction on the island nation from the power of these tropical giants. There is so many like mic drop moments in this thing that, yes, that not only were we doing weather warfare, but China Lake's the Navy at China Lake under Project Storm Fury was steering hurricanes towards Cuba. Like what? Like, are you freaking kidding me, bro? Like, oh my God. That, the same folks that ran rain-making operations in Southeast Asia, whereby Navy China Lake created, intensified, and steered hurricanes towards Cuba to wreak havoc on Cuban economy in an overall effort to destabilize the island nation's agricultural industries, including sugarcane, tobacco, coffee, bananas for export. This weaponized hurricane seeding operation was additionally offset by another covert cloud seeding weaponized weather modification application designed to strategically cause severe droughts in Cuba against again to destabilize their agriculture, exports, and cause a cascading economic collapse of the Cuban economy. Where do we find this article? Okay, I will drop the link specifically for this is not an article, this is a PDF, everybody. So and it literally goes into intimate detail. This was actually where it all went down. Popeye was ultimately sanctioned by the Office of Special Assistant for Counterinsurgency and Special Activities, or SACSA, an office embedded within the Pentagon, somewhat positioned under the Joint Staff Services of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, that was responsible for covert operations in Southeast Asia and later elsewhere in the world. At the time, only a small minority of Washington insiders knew that SACSA office was effectively a covert CIA control office secretly embedded within the Department of Defense. Bro! Oh my God. So, needless to say, this makes me crazy. This makes my head explode. Okay. I think it's Control F. No, shit. How do I get out of the full screen? Doesn't matter. Coming back over here. I covered this one also right here. It says CIA Project Nile Blue. This one's going to need an updating also. But the seeding near Cuba was to cause less rain, not more. It was supposed to squeeze rain out of clouds before they reached the island. You might want to say we tried to embargo rain clouds. And here's the link to that. This is from jfk.hood.edu. And if you scroll on down, you can actually see, I've got Henry Kissinger in there. CIA tampered with Cuba's weather. I created this image. Weathermodificationhistory.com is back. Share it, love it, learn it. Tell everybody about it. CIA are the weathermen. Another CIA plot. Cuba crops. This is from the San Francisco Examiner, June 27th, 1976. And this is where that quote comes from, right here in the center. So yeah, and turns out that they used a technology that was patented by a Canadian dude who literally sued them for using his patented IP to do weather warfare. You just can't make this stuff up. So anyway, gonna need to update a lot of this information, but that's the beauty of this. This is ever evolving. It's so cool that I'm literally flattered and excited all at the same time that that they did this. It's pretty darn exciting that they would go and put together 60 plus pages just on the weather weaponization, and I got to go through all that now and then dump it in sections and pieces into the timeline. So there's always going to be new stuff. I'm trying to get out of freaking full screen. Let me see if I've got a link for this. Yes, I do. Right here. This is the full version of it. I will see if this pastes. Let's see what happens. Is it too long? Did it come through? Let me know if you guys got that over there. That's the full document, and right now up on weathermodificationhistory.com. It should be here. Let's do a test together real quick. Go over here, bring up the thing and bring up the chat. So there's the chat, and I'm gonna put in download. See, the D button's not working on me today. Download slash. I just uploaded this, so it should be there, and it is there. This is the weather modification history link, and I just put this one together. So right here, so we're all clear. I added a line to the top, source, where it came from. So the original, this was just published this month, and I gotta say, I'm flattered. I'm thankful. I love it when new material hits. It's so rare nowadays. But this is absolutely epic material. And as you can see, it is very long. I mean, this is absolutely phenomenal. Juicy weather war. Look, it's the Doom Club. Did we just go full circle there or what? from the United States Aerial Spraying Service, Doom, to Vietnam's Doom Club, where literally Pierre Saint-Amand from China Lake is over there to oversee his Operation Popeye. This is just, I mean, I love history. I think you guys should love history. You're probably here because you do love history. But damn, that's just too coincidental. From Doom to Doom, there we go. Deployment Operations and Operations Management, Doom. To that's pretty freaking epic. I mean, it's just too damn cool. I think that's too cool. Now I don't even know where I put it. I got too many. I have too many things up. I have way too many things up. Where is it at? Where? I don't even know where it is at this point. Oh, it's right there. But yeah, phenomenally good. Showing all of the different planes that were used, target locations. This is Project Popeye C-130As equipped with grumpers. These are different chemical dispersion systems on the side of a W. These are usually like they were WC-130s, so they're weather C-130s, Weather Reconnaissance Division. And this is a Douglas A-1 Sky Raider. So, I mean, there's so much there. Just so much there. Like, I'm only about halfway through reading it. I just got this over the weekend. I have like no time. So when I get to work Monday, I'm reading this. Bruh. McDuff worked for Saxa. Yeah. That is true. It's in there. This photo right here I actually have, which is interesting. Let me duplicate. Go back. And if you come down here, I actually have a color version of that photo. So like some of the photos that they actually have in this document, I have. And you can see that right there. When I duplicated it, it disappeared. But yeah, there it is. This is a photo of an undamaged WC-130 at Anderson Air Force Base in Guam in 1970. This is a color version of that photo I got directly from the person who took the photo, which is pretty freaking phenomenal. They have this photo in here too, and this photo. These three photos are actually in the document, and they've been on my page for a very long time, which is pretty freaking awesome. But yeah, I mean, if you want to know more about the weather warfare that happened during that window, this is Operation Ranch Hand when we were talking about herbicides earlier and spraying Agent Orange. That's there too. They're showing it all. The C-130s have been used since Vietnam to spray chemicals for weather modification and defoliation. They're still being used today. What does that tell you? It's pretty phenomenal. It's pretty phenomenal information that they put. I mean, I'm still scrolling. This is literally the weather modification bomb. And it's got the flare racks underneath it and all that. We made a meme about that and set the internet on fire. But yeah, I mean, just phenomenally deep information on this that you're not going to hear anywhere else. Like, I've never seen anything like this in the 15 years I've been, doing this. This is the first time that somebody was like, look, I'm going to write like a little book. There's the photo. Operation Popeye aircraft near their 500th cloud seeding mission on July 31st, 1968. There's that same photo on weathermodificationhistory.com. And for them to say in the very last paragraph, weather modification history twice. I know that Senator Claiborne Pell would be proud of what we've done here. Also from Rhode Island. Pell was from Rhode Island. That's where the first chemtrail ban tried to get passed. And there's Melvin Laird that I mentioned. So, it's pretty awesome to see all this together. And know that to the author of this, I believe his name is David Reed, that we will definitely correct any inaccuracies or superficialness. But weather modification history right here, this thing right here, weathermodificationhistory.com is the only place on the internet where you're going to go and you're going to get the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God, because I created it to specifically for the purpose of, this is climateviewer.com. This is where I've been writing articles and making videos and giving my opinion for 15 years. In 2015, I went to G. Edward Griffin's Global Warming and Inconvenient Truth, or Inconvenient Lie. Whoa. And I gave a presentation. And in that presentation, the very first thing I said was, coming soon, weathermodificationhistory.com. When I get home, I'm going to make it. And we did. So since 2015, weather modification history was a thing. And then I just, and I did it to separate just the facts from my opinion or anything else that I had going on. Take me out of the equation. Here are the facts in a chronological order. Here are the newspapers. Here are just the facts. And that's what I want to keep it as. I combined it with climateviewer.com because I thought that it might make it easier. It actually made it harder for people to find. So then I had to trouble myself to go, you know what? I screwed up. And I'm going to bring it and I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make it better. I'm going to make it even bigger. So there's a lot more coming to weathermodificationhistory.com. Climateviewer.com is going to have new articles on it because I'm going to take my Substack articles and I'm going to move them over to climateviewer.com so that they're archived there just in case some prick decides to come along and delete my Substack. Because you cannot trust any social media. You cannot trust any other platform. I trust me. I know that I can, everything I own, every one of my websites fits on this right here. Okay? All of my websites, all of my information fits on a flash drive. This is a 256 gigabyte flash drive. It all fits on there. So delete it. I'll literally rent another server and put it right back up. And that's the way I've always operated. That's the way I will continue to operate. And I guess I'll mention this. Only if you're a Call of Duty person will you even get this joke. But just recently I leveled up my Glock 17 and I got extended mags. And that is really cool. So now I've got 30 round mag. Absolutely awesome with the lighted night sights. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Finger guards, safety pull. But yeah, 30 round mags, extended magazines. Brew, that makes me excited. Anyway, overall a good day. Not a good day to be learning about the actual truth about chemtrails, but thank you to Dell Big Trees, the Highwire, ICANN. Thank you for doing this Freedom of Information Act request, bringing that to everybody's attention. That's why I'm bringing it. I want to amplify that too. We all need to raise awareness of this topic because if we're going to talk about chemtrails, we better know about all the chemtrails. The next video I'm going to do is going to be on the chemtrails and the forest fires. Because we need to set the record straight. This stuff about accumulation of aluminum because of them spraying it out of Delta Airlines. There may be some there. We'll cross that road when we get there. But it is undeniable that defoliants and herbicides like Roundup, glyphosate being sprayed all around the world, especially California and Oregon, Washington, all the way up through Canada. The article I showed earlier was from Canada, that They are targeting hardwoods that would otherwise burn slower so that they can increase the amount of pine trees, things like that, that, you know, they may be able to make more money off of selling those trees in the logging industry, but killing the good trees that would stop the forest fires from burning as fast, and then going along and doing hack and squirt and killing trees that are standing and just letting them fall over to make a bunch of tinder on the ground. We're going to talk about that. So that's the next video. Guys, please share this video. Share the Substack article. I didn't share any of it today. Today, I just went live, and apparently this was supposed to, you know, like I added my Facebook page. I don't think, you know, I added it as a source, and I don't think that I haven't seen a single Facebook comment this entire video. So I'm pretty sure that Facebook just was like, you know what? How about no? Well, no, it's set. Look, it says I'm live on my Facebook right now. Well, I mean, it is what it is. How about that crap? Yeah, you never know. You never know. Mana. I mean, they block all the things anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, it may not even really be there, and I'm the only one that could see it, and like 2 or 3 other people, but you know, that's how it goes. Anyway, love you guys, mean it. Please share the video, share the Substack article. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, jump over to connect.climateviewer.com, subscribe to all the things. Just go ahead and hit follow on all the things. You don't ever have to go back to them. Doesn't matter to me, but it helps out the channel. It helps get the message out. But share the information with other people. You know, learn it, then share it, and amplify it, because I would greatly appreciate that. I did say I was going to be doing, you know, the Substack article Thursday, have it come out Thursday morning, and then do the video on Friday. This week went to hell. Okay. We got our first Facebook comment. Edward Wallace. And I can see it. So Ed, appreciate it, Ed, for hopping over there and giving it a little test. Storm Fury 101 in chat is Dominic. Dominic, I hope you weren't here while I was like blowing you up like crazy. But from Dominic, Storm Fury 101 to Willie, Dominic literally was like, "Are you gonna have Willie call in this Sunday?" Because like he literally requested it. It just is absolutely crazy. Anyway. All right, guys, I'm going to call it for today. I will try to get back on schedule next. Yeah, YouTube has a long cache. So like the reason why it takes so long for me to go live is because and I'll show you guys real quick. If I go live over here on the side, what you'll actually see is, let me just, I can't do both at the same time, but anyway, it'll go, you know, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, X, DLive, they'll all say streaming, and then YouTube will say starting, and I'll have to wait till YouTube actually says streaming before I go live. But YouTube wants to like, freaking, I don't know. YouTube wants to like take its sweet time, you know, because it wants to cache a long time. So it takes a good while for me to actually get it started up, because I'm sitting there just waiting. Like everybody, all of them say that they're live and you're seeing this, and I'm waiting for YouTube to say streaming, not starting. But anyway, that's just a weird way to do things. I don't know. There's a huge delay with YouTube. But it's, you know, caching. So anyway, love you guys, mean it. With information comes power. With power comes great responsibility. Please use this information to attack ideas, not people. Meaning when you go down to your local health department and you're like, hey, what are y'all spraying the, you know, out of them trucks, and, you know, why that, you know, F and this, that, you know, try to keep your cool. Remember that, you know, these people think, give them the benefit of the doubt. They think they're doing you a favor. They're keeping you protected from the mosquitoes. You know, and to be fair, somebody's grandma out there is like, could you come out to my neighborhood and spray for them goddamn skeeters right now? I need them skeeters gone. I can't even go to my mailbox with so many damn skeeters. And that's just the truth. So on the one hand, you're going to have grandmas and grandpas and, you know, just people calling them up saying, I want the mosquitoes gone. And they don't realize that a lot of times the medicine is worse than the disease. And in this case, noled, dibrome, and all the other chemicals that are in that FOIA, I'm pretty sure they're worse than the disease. Love you, mean it, guys. Y'all have a great week. Catch you next week. If this video resonates with you, leave me a comment because I love hearing from y'all. First time here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. Yeah! Remember, it would be impossible for me to do this without your support, so please join my Patreon or buy me a coffee on PayPal. And always, attack ideas, not people.